Hey everybody, it's your friend Sarmate here, and we're back with another episode of Settlement Survival. I hope you're having a fantastic and amazing day today. In our last episode, we got started on our new town, Riverdale, and we finished up with this small trading post. So we're currently running with 2 laborers, and we have immigrants nearly here. We should see those people on the map very, very shortly. You can see we have cleared a lot of the resources out around the town. We have a couple of trees coming back, and kind of along those lines, we have our little Forcer's hut here, and our Gatherer's hut. We're currently hoping to get enough workers here so we can get our Forcer hut up and running a little bit more better. And what we're going to do over here, we're going to have our Forester's hut. One is going to be felling and planting trees, and the other is just going to be planting trees. What that's going to do is give us a really dense area here where we're going to have a lot of vegetables and other things that are going to grow in. And then we'll have our Gatherer's hut gather them up. It looks like we have our immigrants here. We got the 12, and since we have that policy set to where we automatically take in refugees, let's see where that is, right here. We have receive all. So we got that. We didn't have to do anything. We just automatically got the 12 workers. Very handy. We're gonna knock it down to 5 speed for just a second here. And let's get some people assigned. So we'll go ahead and add somebody to this new pasture that we did. This is our cattle in here. We have our 2 farms right now for peas. So it would probably be a good idea to go ahead and start getting in a couple more of these because we have more people now and we're gonna need more food to feed them, of course. So let's go ahead, we'll grab our standard farms. I really like these. They're just easy to use, easy to place. We'll do 3 more like that, stick more workers towards food. I think that will be decent enough. And we got another tech point. That's looking great. And we'll go ahead and we'll check that out. So we do still need to build our herbalist hut. That was from one of the last tech points we got. That is going to be helping our health. Now, they've changed this a little bit since last time we played, and we need to increase our happiness as well. So we're only at 51. And really the first building that we can do that does that is the theater. But as you can see, we need glass, we need bricks. We have some of that stuff, or we have the base buildings to get that stuff. And that would be the sand pit here. That's going to get us the sand and the clay. But of course, we need the kiln and then the fuel to make sure that we have enough of those good that we can continue to make the brick and the glass. So we do need to get these 2 points before we can really do any of that. But I don't want to jump too early and get that stuff. We want to make sure that we have enough of these key things like food and water covered before we really start to expand our industry. So let's get some of this other stuff built up first. I probably will put in another pasture. We'll just kind of run a whole bunch of pastures along the line right here, and that'll look decent enough. I did put in a couple more homes up in here because we did know that we were going to get the immigrants, and you can see here we have 10 people. So we're going to need to probably build at least 3 of these houses. So I laid them out and then I paused them right away. So let's go ahead and we'll turn back on 3 of those houses, and that should be enough for right now. So those things will get built up and then we'll be looking all right with that. So since we have 13 laborers, we have to remember to look at our clothing. So remember, we just got started with some iron tooling at the end of the last episode. Let's also get some tailoring started. There's a couple of things that we should be getting now. We have leather from hunting, and of course our cows are going to be providing that. Wool and a pack of wool we do not have just yet. Oh, and I'm just realizing that I neglected to build a hunter's hut. So yeah, we got to definitely do that. So we'll go ahead and we'll plop that guy down right over in here. It should be no problem. We'll get a little bit more food coming in that way. Researchers in the town found that a bug brought by immigrants mainly fed on weeds in the field, which can increase the yield of crops. They wanted to make use of the bug to boost the field yield, but they knew little about the species. Provide the experimental sites for research, or introduce more books to help. Let's provide some sites. And we got 1 tech point. Awesome. Looks like we have 1 farm good to go. And it's May, so let's go ahead and we'll set some peas up and see if we are able to get that started here. Got the last farm getting cleared out. We have 11 laborers still, looking great with that. We're doing pretty good on water, so we'll leave that as is. But look at this. It looks like we are in need of a repair shop. So we'll go ahead and we will search for that repair shop, and we'll get this thing going as well. A very important structure, but you can usually wait a little bit before you have to build one in the beginning of the game. But it looks like we're out of time. So we'll get that thing going. And then we did also learn the herbalist hut, and this is going to be, of course, for our health of the town, and we didn't build it either. So let's go ahead and we'll get one of these guys going as well. We'll get that guy about right in there. Should be good to go. So we've got a couple pieces to build up here. We got some trees coming back around, which is absolutely great. Let's put a couple more workers in the Forester hut. I guess maybe just 1 more here, and that's going to help these trees come back a little bit more quickly. And since it is decent weather out, let's go ahead and we'll come out over in here. We got to gather up some of this stuff. We'll get some of these food pieces that are hanging out, and we really need to get the trees, so we'll work like that. Okay, oh, a little thing that I noticed, a new feature. They have this little arrow here. So this is the default. You have the line of all of the buildings, but you can do double row. So I'm trying out the double row. See how we like that. A couple meat pops out over in here, so we knew that was going to be an issue. So let's do this. Let's get our hunter's hut the priority. We need stone, we need iron. So those are two things that we are hopefully going to pick up over in here. Yep, we got that marked. Excellent. So we'll get those workers out there. We probably also want to think about another storage spot on this side of the world. We do have this initial little one, but I think we'll put one up here. Some quicker access for things that are going on in this area. So put that right there. Looks like this guy's good to go. So let's get in here. Because it's June, kind of late, let's do one of these seeds that has a quicker harvest period. So this is 80 days. When we go look at peas, the peas are 125. So we'll be able to catch up a little bit, I think, with the broccoli. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we'll see where we're looking for food here when we start to harvest. June, so there's going to be a couple months left before we are able to do that. So I don't see any other little veggies or things. Oh, we got a little one right here. Let's go ahead and we'll gather this guy up. Just kind of thinking, looking for things that are close by here, so we don't have to walk so far to get anything. It's quite the walk to go back and forth right in here right now. Okay, so this is saying we had somebody die of starvation, and there's nothing, no tombstone for them to mourn over. So that means we are going to be needing not our cemetery, but our crematorium. Absolutely get one of these things going. We'll go ahead and we'll plop this guy over on the end over here. Doesn't really need to be super close to anything. Doesn't have to be in the radius or anything like that. So get this guy going. Oh, but look at that problem. That's stone. So, well, we do want this. I'm going to pause it for now. We do have a masonry workshop. Okay. Well, let's get this thing going. I don't know if we have one built already. So, quick little thing that I like to do to see if I have something built is if you go like this, it will flash the building that you have built. See how that Taylor is blinking? We do the same thing. We don't have a masonry workshop. Pretty easy when you can see the whole town in one screen. But we're going to go ahead and get the masonry workshop going as well. We have so many things that we need to get built up over in here. Quite the task for us going on right now. So as our town grows, and we don't need to be so confined together, we'll move some of these buildings out and utilize that space for probably housing. So for now, I guess what we got to really do, we'll just do some building up. We do have lots of trees coming in again. Excellent. Super happy about that. Let's leave these trees that are around here until more into the winter time, so we don't have to go so far, and we won't freeze to death so much. So let's go ahead. We're going to gather this stuff up. We're going to keep building, and I'll bring you back in just a minute. All right, it looks like our harvest is coming in off the fields. Looking really good. We have over 700 food right now, and we still have a bunch of fields to clean up. So that's happening right now. Doing great with that. We are really hurting on some wood. So we did complete our hunter's hut. Fantastic. The thing we really need now is the repair shop. So we're working on that. We have prioritized it. We're almost halfway there with the wood that we're gathering up. So we'll get this thing done. We have 2 laborers, so we're hurting again for laborers, of course. So once this thing gets built up, probably have to shift some people around so we can get some of this stuff rebuilt. See, we got houses collapsing and stuff over in here. Not the greatest thing we need right now. So while it's wintertime now, let's go ahead and we'll do a gather all. Let's get some of these trees cut down. We really could use the wood. Go ahead and do that. And I'm going to kind of leave this area alone for right now. Let's let the stuff regrow a little bit, and then we'll reach that in a little bit here. So the farm's looking good. So all those farmers are going to be acting as our laborers in the wintertime. Make the harvest of all these trees be a little bit more quicker. We do have the 3 builders right now working on our repair shop, so we can shift a couple of those people out of here and utilize them in the repair shop. So we'll go ahead and do that. Let's get Dylan and Margaret on there, and we'll get these things repaired, and then we can move them out of the repair shop and utilize them somewhere else. So with 2 laborers, that's pretty decent for right now. I'm kind of considering knocking one of our people out of the big well here, because we're at over 200 water, which is pretty decent for where we're sitting right now in the game. So we might do that. We really need some more ore, and of course clothing is getting a little bit weak. But we have 2 people in our hunter's hut now, so we should be producing a little bit more leather, assuming that there's deer around. So we could do a quick little look over to see if we can find anything. But if we click on the hunter's hut, you can see here that we're only finding geese. And geese is good because we're getting feathers as well. But we don't have any leather-bearing critters around here, it looks like. So there's some alpaca right down over in here. So the way to get to this, if we look, so we have this river that cuts through the map, right? It goes all the way over in here. So this is as far as I can zoom out, but this river is separating us from these critters. So the only way our hunters are going to be able to get over here is if we build a little bridge. So we can do that pretty easily. Let's come over in here. We'll do a bridge. And it's just going to take some stone and some wood, which of course is kind of a hot commodity right now. We'll go ahead and we'll get the bridge laid out just like that, and then we'll get our dirt road going on to connect it. So this will allow our hunters to get over in here. We'll be able to gather up these guys and utilize those goods as well. So that's kind of an important thing, I think. So we'll get that happening. Looks like we did get our houses repaired. Excellent. Let's rebuild this house. We do have our interim housing right in here for any people who don't have a home of their own just yet. We're still working on that, getting people their own house. Food's still looking pretty great. We're moving into January now. So our hunter's hut is doing great, and our extra fields that we threw in, very, very helpful. Another thing that we need to do, so we mentioned the crematorium here, but we needed to cut stone, and then I said, do we have a masonry workshop? But what we forgot to do is let's go over in here and do our services, and let's get a cemetery going. While I do not like cemeteries in this game, it seems to be kind of something that we need to do for right now. Until we can get some cut stone going, let's get some cemetery action happening, so then if we lose anybody else to starvation or cold or whatever, then the family will have a spot to put them. So we need 81 stone from that. We have plenty of stone. That looks great. Let's go ahead and we'll gather these rocks. Oh, it looks like there's a couple alpaca people over in here. So I would think that our hunters will get to that eventually, but right now we're just dealing with turkey and geese. So we'll find that eventually here. So I guess in that case, we don't really need this for right now. So let's just pause this. We'll get to it eventually. We'll go across here for sure at some point. So we'll just pause it, but we got it laid out. We're ready to go when we want that. Okay, now we do have a good chunk of technology points, and I was kind of looking at this, and we mentioned our mining and getting into sand mining and then doing this, but I'm not really ready to, I don't really have enough wood to fuel the refined fuel, to fuel the calcining kilns. So what I think we're going to do, this is just something good to have for right now, is this forest farm. But we have plenty of points we can grab right in here. We got the nursery, we got the forest farm, the apiary, a couple of good pieces in here. These guys are going to collect honey and beeswax. The nursery is going to allow us to farm herbs and special crops in the field area. And the forest farm is exactly what it sounds like. It's going to be a forest farm. Lots of trees going in there. And then we have a spot where we can farm trees and we don't have to be so reliant on them growing back. However, we need clay for this. So what we got to do, we do have to get the sand pit. So let's go ahead. We'll find the sand pit here. There it is. Easy peasy. We got to get these guys on the water. Ooh, but look at this. The edge of the map is right here. But it looks like we can still sneak one of them over in here just good enough. Let's go as far south as we can on this guy. It looks like it's going to be about right there. So we'll go ahead and get that guy laid down. And then we do need a road to connect it. So we'll go ahead and we'll bring our road out in that direction. And we'll kind of line it up like so. Okay, great. We'll get this thing built up. We need the stone. We need the iron ore. We'll get that happening. Herbalist hut is ready to go. But look at that. We have no labor. So we have to do something about that. Let's adjust this a little bit. We'll take somebody out of the herbalist hut. We do want that for our health, and we'll get there in just a moment. But let's see if there's anything else we can shift around. So our repairs are complete. Fantastic. So let's get our people out of there. We'll leave the repair shop built, of course, because we're going to need to utilize it at some point here again. So we'll do that. And that's going to give us a couple more workers. Let's get over in here in the herbalist hut and see what we can do. We do have a stock of some herbs, and then that's going to let us make medicinal powder. Let's go ahead and set that up as our recipe. The other recipe is going to be bandage. Bandage is going to require some herbs and some cotton cloth or linen. We don't have either of those, so we're just going to go ahead and leave this at medicinal powder for now, and we will continue to utilize some of the herbs that we've been picking up as we've been going around, cleaning up and gathering up all of the things that are spawning around the town here. June is coming along, and our food is pretty low. So I think we're really close on getting the balance of food just right, because we're about halfway with our ripeness on our peas here, and once those are complete, we'll get a whole bunch of that coming in. What I should have done is swap that to peas to begin with here in the planting season, and then we would have had a little bit extra food, but we missed it, so that's too bad, I guess, for this year. Over here, we got our masonry workshop completed. Excellent. So let's take that person out of there. We don't want them doing that just yet, so let's do some cut stone. It's looking like we have souvenirs in here too, so that's cool. We can use some stone, and this says promotion materials made from stone in the masonry workshop can be used for a scenic area promotion. So pretty cool. Another use of the masonry workshop. We're doing pretty well with stone, so that's excellent. We've been picking it up as we go along out here. Since it's July, maybe we want to go out here and gather some more of that stuff. Again, long walk, so it takes us a minute. Lots of trees coming back, super great. And once we get our sand pit going, we can get a little bit more clay. But I think what we're going to have to do is wait for another batch of immigrants. We only have the 3 laborers right now, so to do a whole nother industry just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense right now. We can go all the way out to about here with our houses, so we have this whole area to play with for that. I think we'll build a couple of those kilns in there, and then we'll probably put some of those tree farms out over on this side. I think that would be good as well to kind of utilize this a little bit more. So let's go ahead. We can at least set up some of that stuff. So let's go to our agriculture here, and let's get forest farm. So let's get one of these guys. We'll get it as far north as we can here, and go like that. And let's go for a 10 by 10. Pretty manageable size. We'll do that. And then we need 100 clay for that. So that's quite a bit. Gonna bring this up like so. And there we go. We got that started up. And then what would be beneficial over here, we're gonna work in here, of course, is gonna be another storage yard. So let's go ahead. We'll tuck this guy in about right here. Looks great. And we'll get that stuff worked on. We're gonna need a lot more wood, of course. And then, of course, the clay there. Our cemetery is almost completed. We need a couple more stone. And then we'll get some hammers over there and get that stuff built up. Doing a quick little look around, make sure that we don't have anything that is in need of repairs. We don't want to miss that. But look at this. We did get another forester hut completed. So we have 3 more people over here felling and planting trees. What I mentioned before. Let's go ahead and we'll take one of these guys off felling trees. Then we'll have 2 forester huts that are planting and the only one that's gathering. So we should be able to keep up with that demand. Let's take 1 worker out of there. Then we'll be up to 4. Should be nice to have that many. Looking like our clothes are getting pretty low, so it's a little bit of a concern that I have right now. Leather's pretty weak, wool are pretty weak. So another pasture will probably be a beneficial thing here. So let's go ahead, we'll get another one going. I think we did these 8x8. Let's go ahead, we'll get another one of these going on right there. Decent enough, we'll get a road going, and then we'll have a road all the way over in this direction. So we'll go ahead and we'll drag that out, and then let's just connect this. So we're moving into October. We have our harvest completed, 2,720 food, looking great. Let's get some PCs going, and that's pretty good. So yeah, the clothing thing is gonna be a problem. So we have 2 tech points. So what we could do here, let's go ahead and let's find some flax processing. So we have our weaving here. It's gonna allow us to produce a textile mill, which is going to process cotton or flax into cotton cloth or linen. Going to take pretty basic things, timber, stone, ore. So let's go ahead and we'll learn that. One more point, we won't quite utilize that just yet, but let's go ahead and get a textile mill going on here. Looks like we got a nice little spot right here. And since we're doing pretty good with food, it looks like, let's go ahead and we'll change this guy to our flax field. Then we've got the 1 flax field and then 4 peas. That should do us pretty well, but we'll see. We've got to make an adjustment. We can do that. And of course, we'll have our other pasture here. And it looks like this guy is producing a decent amount of leather and an okay amount of beef. So a couple key pieces there. Very nice to have that coming on. And we have our 4 laborers. That's great. Look at how good this forest is coming in here with these 2 guys working. That's awesome as well. Moving into December, we're gonna have a whole big forest over here to chop down here pretty quick. So that's gonna be really good. We need to have that. We need to have more domestic fuels. Looks like I got a couple snowflakes running around, but we're gonna need to gather up more fuel so that we can run a couple more houses here, because of course we are expanding. Looks like immigrants are just now appearing on the timeline. Fantastic. That's when we can really get going with our growth. So what we're gonna do here, we'll get this thing built up, get the sandpit built up. We got enough workers. We'll get 1 person in there, start to gather some clay for us, and then we're gonna put that clay straight toward our forest farm and start to get that little area going. Okay, the snow has just melted and we are in the midst of completing our first forest farm here. We need a couple more hammers on that. Looking great. Cemetery's up and operational, and so is the textile mill. Looking great. We have lots of flax, almost 700 flax running around. So we'll have plenty of linen here pretty soon. And then of course our tailor will be good to go, creating a little bit more clothing for us. Then we'll be able to look a little bit better in our clothing stockpile. Only at 24 right now, so we need a little bit more. In addition, we had some alpaca that our hunters found. Got those guys in the pasture right now. We don't have anybody working it just yet. We got lots of jobs for these immigrants that are coming along here just very soon. We'll get those guys to work. We still need to gather up some more trees, of course. So once this forest farm's going, probably start working on another one. Probably keep these 2 people in the sandpit here so we can start to get a reserve of clay going on. It's going to be an important piece. We're going to need a lot of it. So let's go ahead and we'll start working on that. Forest farm is good to go. We've got Alexa working in there. Let's get some tree seeds started. It's going to take a little bit for these guys to produce anything for us. So let's get them going as soon as we can here. Immigrants are nearly here, so with 2 laborers, we should be looking all right for now anyways. I did have to add 1 more worker into our big well, so we get more water coming in. Food's still looking great. Water's looking a little bit better. And then we're going to get our timber looking even better here just shortly. Tools are awesome, so that's great. We got that just in time. We got these iron tools going on. It's using up some of our timber, of course, but we'll deal with it. We gotta have it. We gotta have tools. Something we could do though, put that to 100. We'll lower it a little bit, down from 200. So then once we hit that cap of 100, we won't be making any more of those tools, and then we'll of course be saving that timber. Really what we need to save the timber for is the domestic fuels again. We just had another winter and we slipped through. I don't think we had anybody die of cold, but you know, I don't really like having not enough fuel to warm everybody's houses. So we got to get that nailed down a little bit better. And of course, with additional forest farms, that's going to be a little bit easier to do. Since it is warm out again here, and right before we get our immigrants, let's go ahead. We're going to mark some more of these trees out here for gathering. If we get a little bit of a stockpile going, that's ideal. That's what we really want to get going. And then with the, of course, again, the tree farms, that'll be perfect to have. The next operation that I want to get going is we got 2 points here. So is going to be the reeds. Reeds are a really important piece in the beginning here. This is going to allow us to make some paper and a couple other things like a basket. So let's go ahead. We'll get the reeds started. We're going to need these immigrants for sure before we can do any of that stuff. But then we'll need to get knitting. And then we'll get the knitting workshop. We can actually use flax in the knitting workshop as well. But I would like to use reeds because then we can just dedicate reeds to the knitting stuff. And then the flax can be used for clothing. It looks like we finally reached our first population milestone, which is going to allow us to select an administrator. We have Belinda and Elaine here. +1 technology point or +1 logistics proficiency. I think I'm going to go with the tech point. So we got 1 more. So now we're up to 2. So yeah, I think we can go ahead and we'll get knitting. Get that one since we got the extra point. Got reed on the way. We still have to put in a couple nurseries, so we're going to do that next, I think, here. And then the other thing that I'm thinking about doing is maybe putting in a school and get the school started. What I think we're going to do, we'll use our last point for school expansion because we get tech experience generated from school type structures is doubled. We'll go ahead and we'll grab that. And of course, we need to go to school and get the school started. So something I want to point out here. Notice we have this going on right here. Let's just pause the game for a second. We got people running around with the disease. And luckily, we have our herbalist huts operational. That's this guy right here. We got Florence working in there. And we're going to be utilizing our medicinal powder to help fix that disease. So another option, which you could do, is if you weren't prepared and you caught this early enough. Let's see if I can click on a guy. So actually, I'm looking at this and, well, we got a problem. So, of course, I just used all our tech points, and I'm looking at the disease that we just got from the immigrants that arrived, and that's measles. So we might be in trouble here. We need 1 more tech point, which we can do soonish, but then we gotta actually build the bathhouse too. So I just caught this, and we used to be able to banish citizens, and that was the way to deal with somebody who's sick like this when you weren't able to deal with the problem. So since I don't see that anywhere in here anymore, I don't see how you get rid of citizens. I'm very concerned. This is possibly a threat to wipe out our town. So let's just keep an eye on this. We need to put that extra tech point that we get, hopefully here, into the bathhouse and get that utilized, and hopefully we can deal with it. We have to get the bathhouse to get that fixed. We'll hopefully get that working. Oh yeah, we got 3 people infected right now. We'll keep our eye on that number. Hopefully it goes down. I don't think it will, but we gotta watch it. Okay, so, well, we got our immigrants at least. That's nice. So let's go ahead and we'll put those people to work. We're gonna do a gather all out here. Well, we got a couple extra hands again. Something I like to do when we first get immigrants, get some of this stuff picked up. So we'll get those trees cut, get those stones brought in, and then we'll start assigning some people to some new jobs that we have. One over here. We had somebody die of measles without treatment, and that's okay. I'd rather have the people die than not spread it. Looks like we only got 1 more person infected. So, okay, so I guess that's the trade-off. So yes, the possibility of them spreading it throughout the town is still here, but it looks like they've adjusted it, the balance of the game here, to where that might not be such an easy occurrence. The very first town I built, that's how I lost. I had the sickness ravage the whole town right away, and that was it. So yeah, we got a couple more tech points that we're needing for that, so we'll get to it eventually here. School is nearly built up. We'll get some of our laborers and kids in there to start getting a good education. Gonna give us some more tech point accumulation points, and then of course they're gonna be better workers, so we can be a more efficient worker, and that's what we want to have, of course. So that's kind of what we're working on here. Okay, and we did get the reed field, which is great. We are gonna need to start working on in this little area, I think, because I don't know if we're gonna be able to fit any more of these guys in here, and it looks like it's not gonna work because we need that road access. Let's come down over in here and let's start to get some reed structures going on here. We'll go for one right there, and we'll just start with that for now. We are definitely gonna need more than just that, but we'll get that going. And it looks like our disease has passed, so we should be good for now. I was worried about that, but absolutely the next thing we're gonna do is start focusing on health a little bit more. Let's get the bathhouse. Another problem, I guess, is we don't have bricks, and we don't really have any of these things, I guess. So yeah, big problem. So what we could do is do some trading for it. We need some bricks, we need some cut stone, and oh, it looks like we just need the bedding sets and the cut stone and the planks for the bathhouse. So we need the bricks for the soap workshop. So we don't have to quite do that just yet, but let's focus on this health stuff. So the cut stone, we have that in place. Planks, have that in place. Bedding sets, that's going to be a little bit more of a difficulty. I don't really have the ability to do bedding sets right now. So the way that we do that, the way that we get that bedding set, let's just slow down the time here just a little bit. Let's form a caravan. And we are going to go see Meow. So this is the first time we've looked at this in this playthrough. And I like this person because at level 3, you get the best farms in the game. I used to go to Carlos first for that cactus seed action. Really, really good source of food. Then you can use agave for some clothing. Tequila, of course, which is good for happiness. That's also a very good possibility. And then, of course, Obsidian Road here with Carlos, which is my favorite road to use. But for now, we want to go see Meow. So let's go ahead and see if we can find anything that we can sell and to make a little bit of money so we can buy some stuff. So let's go ahead. We'll find our bedding sets up over in here. Now we need 15. Can we even afford this? So 816 coins. Let's see what we can do. So we have lots of water. We do have those extra tools. So we could, you know, do something like that. But even that's only 360. So that's kind of a problem. Let's bump that up a little bit more. 540. That's a pretty good chunk of what we're going to be needing. And then, of course, we have lots of peas. So another thing that we could do is supplement the rest of this with some peas, which is a pretty easy way to go. So 307 peas is what's going to take for us to have enough money to do this exchange. Let's go ahead and send this caravan out. Now, it's a high risk of death. So 5% with 5 workers, you know, that's kind of a lot. So let's manipulate that as much as we can. Let's drop it down to 7. Now, we should get most of these workers back, but we'll see. We do lose some people sometimes. So we'll go ahead and do that, and we're going to work on trying to be prepared for that bathhouse as soon as we can get the tech points. Oh, looks like we do have the tech points, so let's work on that a little bit more. We got the planks going on. Let's limit this plank to, I think it was 50. Oh, that's to 20. So plank to 20. We don't even need this right now, so that's perfect. So let's go ahead and we'll do our cut stone, get somebody working on cut stone, and then let's use our point at the bathhouse, activate that. Let's go over here, bathhouse, and we'll get this guy going on. And we're gonna have to do a little area up over in here. It looks like it might be one of the buildings that we're gonna have to rearrange here at some point. But for now, let's just tack it on to the end right there, and we can start working this way a little bit more for these other houses. So this is our priority. So let's prioritize that. 50 cut stones can take us a minute to get, and the bedding sets are going to take us a little bit to get. Hopefully we can get all that stuff done before we get immigrants again, and before we risk getting another disease. But I think this is a good spot to call this episode a Settlement Survival. Thanks for coming and hanging out with me. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I hope to see you on the next. Have a fantastic and amazing rest of your evening, day, or night.